If a mellow afternoon on the trail, enjoying the scenery is your thing, you should probably move on. If long distance touring and ultimate comfort is your thing, maybe this isn't the most relevant test ride for you. If you spend more time polishing your sled than riding it, yeah, you should just shuffle along. This is the Polaris Pro X 800 Rush. It's not meant for the timid or the faint of heart. It's not meant to be looked at and swooned over. It's not meant to have a touring windshield installed and a set of saddlebags. It's meant to rip, shred, launch, and jump anything in its path. Okay, so you don't have to be a criminal to ride a Pro X, but you do need to be among the most aggressive and active riders on the snow. The Pro X Rush is a lot of things, but mellow is not one of them. It all starts with Polaris's outstanding AXYS chassis and Pro XC rear suspension. Now, this chassis and suspension combo were specifically designed to provide what Polaris calls rider balance control, which is just a fancy way of saying where you put your weight on the sled drastically affects how the sled handles. And while there are a lot of things that make this sled a blast to ride, its rider balance control really is the most important. Because if you're an active rider, you can have a sled that both corners sharp and aggressive, but also lifts the skis and transfers its weight like a top fuel dragster. And it all happens almost telepathically. If you want to loft the skis or accelerate hard, just move yourself back on the seat and the front end will lift right off the ground. When you want to corner hard and get the front end to bite, just move forward on the seat and hug the tank. Sure, most vehicles are ridden this way, but none are as dramatically affected by the rider's position as this one. When you buy a Rush, you have the option of a Pro S or a Pro X. This is obviously the X, and they are not the same. The Pro S is an absolutely stellar trail machine that can handle anything you'll ever encounter on the trail with an almost Victorian composure. The X? It sits up taller thanks to longer front shocks and more preload on the rear shocks from the factory. It doesn't corner as well as the S, but it's not terrible and it can definitely be ridden fast on the trails. Its extra height makes it an absolute animal in the bumps though. And I'm talking bumps of any size. You can power full throttle through the gnarliest ungroomed ditches, slam big hits and catch awesome air, or rail the biggest bermed out corners better than any other quote-unquote trail sled I've ever ridden. The X loves to loft its skis. It loves to be ridden standing up, and it loves to be pushed hard. There are a few visual cues that hint at this as well, like the taller bar riser, overall taller stance, and that utterly ridiculous windshield. I'm just gonna be completely blunt here. That is not a windshield. It doesn't actually deflect any wind. It sucks. It's freezing cold. It's completely pointless. If you're gonna order your sled with this thing on, you might as well not even get a windshield. Sure, this is a hardcore sled, but it's not a race sled and it's not a mountain sled. It's meant to be out, on and off the trail, going fast. There's just no reason to equip any sled with a G-string sized piece of Lexan where the windshield should be in order to non-verbally explain to others you are super hardcore. The Pro X Rush is a SnowTrax only sled, so you can pick your windshield. Order your sled with a real windshield and the short one later if you really want it for only the warmest days. You can get them at either your local Polaris dealer or at Victoria's Secret. For us to consider a sled truly great, the manufacturer has to get a number of different elements dead on, and the motor is one of the biggest. In this respect, Polaris absolutely nailed it. I can't say I've ever ridden an 800 that feels like this one. It's smooth and power feels linear and almost endless. It hauls hard on the bottom right from initial squeeze, but if you hit the throttle at 70 miles an hour, it still pulls like a tractor well up over the indicated C note. This is one of the snappiest, quickest revving two-strokes I've ever pulled the trigger on. It sounds incredible and it's pretty good on gas and oil. This is an engine that just begs you to ride it hard, and it's mated to a chassis that fits its character perfectly. So what is the Pro X and why do we like it so much? Well, it's a sled that can pretty much do it all. It rides excellent. It can handle the biggest bumps and jumps off trail and never get out of shape. Ergonomically, it fits like your favorite old hat, and it's got a motor you'll lay awake dreaming about. No, it doesn't handle as good as the S, but it's certainly not terrible. And it's definitely not warm with that silly windshield installed. But these are just some of the things you'll have to live with if you want one of the most fun and engaging snowmobiles we've ever ridden.
If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, like it and then subscribe to our page for more great content from SnowTrax TV.